Hello, today I want to talking about International Women's Day, which is observed every year on March 8th. This day is recognized around the world as a moment to reflect on the achievements of women, but also to remember the long struggle for equality and justice. International Women's Day is not only celebration for many people, it's also a day of reflection and activism. It reminds us that women have fought for many of rights that today we consider normal, such as the right to vote, the right to work in fair conditions, and the right to participate in political and social life.
A powerful example in the story is Malala Yousafzai. When Malala was only 50 years old, she lived in a region where extremist groups tried to prevent girls from going to school. She spoke publicly about the importance of education for girls, even though it was dangerous. Because of her activism, she was attacked on her way home from school in 2012. Today, she is known internationally as a symbol of courage and the fight for equality, and she became the youngest person ever to receive the Nobel Peace Prize.
These origins of International Women's Day go back to the early 20th century. At the time, many women worked in factories under difficult and unfair conditions. They often worked long hours, received long wages, and had very few rights. In 1998, 2,000 of women workers marched through the streets of New York City, demanding better working conditions, fair pay, and the right to vote. This protest inspired movements in other countries and became an important moment in the story of women's rights. A few years later, in 1910, a German activist named Clara Zetkin proposed the creation of an international day dedicated to women's rights during a conference of working women. In Copenhagen, the idea was accepted and the first International Women's Day was celebrated in 1911 in several European countries with rallies and demonstrations supporting equality for women. The date of March 8 became significant because of events that happened in Russia in 1917 during World War I. Women worked organized a strike demanding bread and peace. They were protesting against food shortages and the effects of the war. This protest became part of larger movements that eventually led to important political change, including women gaining the right to vote. Many years later, in 1975, the United Nations officially began celebrating International Women's Day, helping to make it a globally recognized rights and gender equality.
Today, International Women's Day is observed in many countries around the world. It recognizes the contributions of women in different areas such as politics, science education, culture, and social movements. However, many organizations remind us that this day should not only focus on celebrations, instead it should also highlight the inequalities that women still face today. For example, in many parts of the world, women still earn less than men for the same work. Women are also often underrepresented in leadership positions, and many continue to face discrimination and gender-based violence. Because of this challenge, International Women's Day encourages people to reflect on how society can become more equal. It is a day to support actions that promote women's rights, education, safety, and equal opportunities. This day also helps recognize the achievements of women who have made important contributions to society. Another important idea is that gender equality benefits everyone. When women have equal opportunities, communities and societies become stronger, more fair, and more prosperous. This day also helps recognize the achievements of women who have made important contributions to society, even when their work has not always been acknowledged. By highlighting these stories, International Women's Day can inspire future generations of girls to believe in their potential and pursue their goals.